chair of the all-party parliamentary group on Kashmir with us. We've also now got Ian Byrne, the Labour MP for Liverpool West Derby, who's very committed to tackling injustices at home and abroad and around the world. Imran has suggested that if another couple of speakers want to speak, and then Imran will say a few words as chair of the all-party parliamentary group. So who would you like to go next?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Richard Burgon, for facilitating this conference.
My pleasure.
You are very kind and sympathetic to people of state of Jammu and Kashmir. We honor and graced with the presence of MPs here. Thank you very much, sir. And we welcome each and everybody in this very important conference on Kashmir. Unfortunately, Kashmir has been caught between three nuclear powers, India, Pakistan, and China, since 1947, forcibly divided, and people have no right of free movement, and they are victim of terrorism, counter-terrorism, and extremism. We are here. This is our fourth conference here in this prestigious house, and we hope that our voices will be heard not only here, but at global forums and international policy making forums. Because Kashmiris have no presentations in any policy making institutions in Pakistan or India, and both countries are imposing their thoughts and powers through military mights and majoritarianism. And we are here to raise our voices, to ask international community to listen our voices. Because our people, they are victims of extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, and those who promote peace, harmony, and they want reunification of state of Jammu and Kashmir, they face persecutions and they are forced to leave their homelands. Because Kashmir was divided due to the Cold War era policies, and we hope that this British Parliament, British government, and international community will listen our voices. They will support us. At least Kashmiri should be reunited, and Kashmiri should have right to determine their future as per their wishes. And thank you very much. We are grateful for your support, for your unwavering support to people of Jammu and Kashmir. Now I would like to give floor to, would you like to start Shaukat?
Before, I think,
Who?
Sarfraz Ahmed.
Yeah. Now I would like to give floor to Sarfraz Ahmed. He is the Secretary General of United Kashmir People's National Party, United Kingdom. You have the floor, sir. Please conclude your comments in 4 to 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Nasir Razi Khan Sahab. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished member, UK Parliament, Lords, panelists, and participants, I express to refrain from imposing unilateral decision on the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The future of the region must be decided by its people through inclusive, democratic, and peaceful process, not through force or external dictates. We call on Great Britain and the international community to support the establishment of the unified democratic buffer state of Jammu and Kashmir, one that serves peace and development in South Asia and denies its land for use in aggression against any neighbor. Let us be clear, Jammu Kashmir not a territorial dispute between India and Pakistan. It is a matter of life, identity, and dignity for millions of Kashmiris. We demand freedom of expression, movement, reunification, and the right of self-determination for all. We urge members of the Parliament and the global community to remain engaged and committed to justice, peace, and human rights in Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Raja Sarfraz Sahib. Now I would like to give floor to Ms. Fariyati, Secretary Foreign Affairs Committee, United Kashmir People's National Party. You have the floor.
Thank you, Nazir Sahab, Honorable Member of Parliament. ये लगाना? जी. Honorable Member of Parliament, respected delegates, members of civil society, friends and colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to address this important gathering. I want to extend my sincere appreciation to MP Richard Burgon for hosting this event and the United States People's National Party for its continued leadership in advocating for the rights and dignity of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Today's topic, as we all know, is peace, security, and fundamental rights in Jammu and Kashmir. Today, we are not here to discuss a territorial issue or a regional dispute. We are talking about the lives, rights, and future of millions of people who, for over 7 decades, have lived under conditions that deny them peace, stability, and meaningful representation. Jammu and Kashmir remain one of the most militarized regions in the world. People on both sides of the line of control live with heavy restrictions on their movements, speech and daily life, surveillance, arbitrary detentions, and limitation on civil society have created an atmosphere where fear overshadowed freedom. This is not the foundation of lasting peace. True peace is not simply the absence of armed conflict. It is the presence of dignity, equality, and opportunity. It is when families can live without fear, when children can walk safely to school, when communities are free to express themselves, to assemble, to worship, and to participate in public life without intimidation or punishment. Fundamental rights are not optional, they are universal. The people of Jammu Kashmir, like peoples everywhere, are entitled to the same protections and freedom that define any modern democratic society. These include freedom of expression, access to justice, the right to fair trial, freedom of belief, and the right to determination their political future. Denying these rights is not just a local problem, it is human rights concern that deserve global attention. One recent and deeply troubling case illustrated just how urgent this is. 2 young brothers, they were the resident of District Bagh, were declared terrorists and killed in what can only be described as mysterious and unaccountable circumstances. Their families strongly reject the state's version of events and has called for justice. In a democratic society, when the state uses lethal forces, there must be transparency, accountability, and a commitment to truth. We therefore call for a full and independent judicial inquiry into this incident. The state must take responsibility not only to explain what happened, but to demonstrate and that every life is valued and protected under law. This is not an isolated case. I just want to emphasize on this thing, that it reflects broader pattern of unaccountability and disrespect for due process that continue to affect the region. We must continue to speak up, not just in response to individual tragedies, but to challenge the structure that allow them to happen. And just few more minutes I will take. The international community also has a clear role to play, we believe. The United Kingdom in particular, in its historical connection to the region and its long-standing commitment to democratic norms, can and should take a more effective role in promoting transparency, supporting inclusive political dialogue, and ensuring that international human rights standards are upheld. We are not here to ask for sympathy. We are asking for a principled, consistent stand on justice, human rights, and the rule of law. We are asking for the international community to engage not only of obligation but out of shared values. Let us not allow this conference to become just another entry in the record. Let it be a moment of renowned focus, serious discussion, and above all, action. The people of Jammu and Kashmir deserve peace. They deserve dignity, and they deserve the right to determine their own future. Thank you very much.
Constitutional MP saying that the speech by President Macron from France, which started late. So Fabian Hamilton, for example, is in there now. But he'll be coming when that's finished. There's various things going on today. No, that one. I'm really delighted in two ways in months here, as well as a friend and as a close personal colleague, but also because he's here as the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on Kashmir, and he's relatively newly elected when you were elected. Was it a year ago? Well, the year has gone quickly, but he's doing a great job in that role. Bringing human rights experts and others to address MPs and making sure that there is real pressure on the government to do what's necessary in order to ensure that the people of Jammu and Kashmir get their own choice to choose their own future, and so that self-determination isn't just rhetoric but becomes a reality. So welcome, Imran.
Thank you very much, Richard. Friends, brothers, sisters, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. It's really a privilege to be here today. I'm grateful to, firstly, my very good friend, comrade Richard Bergen. And can I just say, actually, Richard and I have been friends for nearly 30 years now. We have had a long political journey together, and not only are we friends, but I think the biggest thing that brings Richard and I closer has brought us close over the years is our shared values around standing up against injustice. And actually, the tragedy of it is, as we've progressed over the years, the injustices on the international stage have actually got worse, not better. But I know he is somebody that will always call out injustice wherever it takes place and whoever against. So I think, firstly, I know there's a number of constituents here from Leeds also. Can I firstly applaud you? You have an excellent member of Parliament. So well done to the people of Leeds for electing Richard Bergen. And of course, Ian, sorry, I didn't want to miss out Ian. Ian's also a very dear colleague. He's from Liverpool. He's not from West Yorkshire, so don't hold that against him, please. But Ian's another very dear colleague who always, joins us at events like this, and I'm really grateful to him for all his support on all Kashmir events as well. It would be remiss of me. I have probably had more calls from my own constituents to attend this meeting than I have in a long time. A number of my, I will mention a few names that I've seen from Bradford. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry because I've not spotted you. But, my dear brother Ashfaq sits at the back there. He specially rang me. Also, Yasser Arafat Saab, Mahmood Kashmiri, brother Wajid is here somewhere. I saw him walking in. So a number of Bradfordians are here as well. And it's always a pleasure for me to host my own constituents here in Parliament as well, notwithstanding on such an important issue. Look, I'm going to be fairly brief today, because firstly, I want to talk about the work of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Kashmir. I think it's gone from strength to strength, and it's a privilege for me, as somebody of a Kashmiri background myself, who has, fought on this issue all my life, to now be chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group, which is a cross-party group of over 70 MPs. So that group has strengthened over the years, and it's great that we have such a representation. And the aim of that group is really very simple. It is to make sure that Kashmiris are given a voice in Parliament, because the issue of Kashmir matters dearly to all our Kashmiri diaspora, but actually to anybody who values human rights. The issue of Kashmir, of course, is hugely important. So I think it's telling again by the number of people that have come here today how important this issue is to the Kashmiris. Now, my job as chair of the all-party parliamentary group is to attend as many events. So I try to attend every event that happens. Now, it won't be lost on people that there are a number of different groups all doing excellent work, and there are differing viewpoints within those groups. And I respect the views of all people. And as chair of the all-party parliamentary group, that's why my job is to attend as many events as possible, so I'm able to hear the views of all our constituents from across the country, and that's what today is about. But equally, I want to say a few things that I think, because I think this is a crucial juncture for Kashmiris. This is a really crucial juncture. And we've heard some excellent speeches today from people who have gone into the background. And I think we all know, the historic injustices faced by Kashmiris, the persecution, the oppression, the decades-old injustice. And, I'm not sure my time will be well spent going through that, because we all know of all the injustices that have taken place. But there are two central issues for us. The first is on continued human rights abuses, and the second is the birthright of the Kashmiris to self-determination. Those are the two central issues. And I'm going to focus my remarks on the limited time I have on the second one of those, which is the birthright of the Kashmiris to self-determination. And two significant events have recently happened, two international significant events that I think makes this much more relevant now in terms of the international context, and why the international community can no longer ignore Kashmiris. The first one of those was a number of years ago with the illegal revocation of Article 370 and 35A. Now, let's be really clear. There was one reason that we saw the revocation of those articles unilaterally by the Modi government, and in breach of every international legislation. And it's tragic when you have such international breaches that you do not have outcry from the international community. There was relevant silence. But the aim of that, the human rights abuses and the persecution, the arbitrary arrests, and all those things that went with that aside, the aim of that was to quash the Kashmiri struggle. And I think that is of international significance, because what that did was almost, and it has in some ways achieved its purpose, which is to silence the Kashmiris, to stop their struggle. And we've seen recently how that has developed. And when we saw the first opportunity for an election in that region, we saw, and whether we agree or disagree, the merits of that election, the fairness of that election, the results of that election, what we did see is a clear mandate from the regional government that said the first thing that needs to happen is that special status to Kashmir in that region needs to be returned. So that is of huge significance. The second thing of huge significance is the recent escalation in tensions which we saw between two nuclear neighbors recently. Now, this is of huge importance, because again, what this shows is the international community cannot turn a blind eye to the Kashmiri struggle. The facts on the ground were there. I think we spoke about them in Parliament. Again, it was, I feel, regrettable that we saw the actions, in particular, again, from the Indian government with the unilaterally withdrawing itself from the Waters Treaty, for example. That is collective punishment on millions of Pakistanis. Anybody that follows me knows I made my views on all these issues well documented, and today I'm focusing specifically on that right to self-determination. So for us today here, sat in this historic building, which is often described as the mother of all parliaments. The UK government has a historic, moral and legal duty. You know, we cannot, you know, for decades now, we've had successive governments that have come and they have said that this is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. This is not a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. You know, let's be really frank about that. And there are those who, again, try to rely on the Simla agreement to say, actually, the Simla agreement meant that it suddenly turned into into a bilateral issue. You know, I've said this on many platforms. Kashmiri Saab has shared many with me, and he knows my passion. I've said this on many platforms. I am prepared to debate anybody at any point, at any place, that the Shimla Agreement does not take precedent over international law and UN resolutions. This remains an international issue under international law. And that's the point we have to keep putting forward. So for our government, again, our job is to continue, and the APPG is continuing to make that case to our government, like successive governments. It's not just the current government. This has been a decades-long position to say it's an matter between India and Pakistan, and therefore it doesn't concern anybody else. But central to that, and this is the point I want to finish on today, and unfortunately I'm going to have to leave minutes late for my next meeting. I was supposed to be somewhere at 5:30. The last point I want to make, and this is the point that we will continue to make in this place, I will continue to make. You know, again, I respect all viewpoints. But at the end, self-determination, and let me be really clear, the right to self-determination only belongs to one group of people, and that is only the Kashmiris. That's it.
Thank you so much, Imran. I'm very conscious that we may have a series of votes coming early and expected at 6 o'clock. So if that's okay with you, what I suggest is that we hear from our other two MP colleagues here. Fabian, would you like to go first?
Fabian was here before me.
Yeah.
I think he should go.
Oh, thanks very much. Look, it's a real honor and privilege to be here today and learn about the struggle and listen to remarkable contributions like Imran. Let's put that on. Okay. So it's a real privilege and honour to be here today and listen to the fantastic contributions and just listen to, my good friend Imran's contribution there, which was so passionate. And for me to learn, about the struggle that you've faced and to enhance my education on what's happening within the region and the struggles that you face. But I think what comes loud and clear is the self-determination element. And every people should have self-determination over the future. So all I can say is you've got my full support. I'll carry on working with Richard, Imran, the APPG, and all people in there where you need to go and carry on fighting for that in Parliament. And I'm sure the good people in here will do that. So thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to be here today.
Thanks so much. And Ian is one of the most courageous champions against injustice in Parliament. I think it's fantastic he's come along today and he's going to take things forward with Imran, Fabian, myself. And it's a great pleasure to welcome my good friend and neighbour, Fabian Hamilton, who's fresh from a meeting with the President of France.
Yes.
And I'm delighted that he can join us.
Thank you very much, Richard. Sardar, Shaukat, Ali, Kashmiri, dear friends, it's lovely to see so many familiar faces in this room. I say it's lovely because it's always a pleasure to see old friends, but it's a tragedy in many ways that we're still here arguing for Kashmir. We should have solved this problem by now. How many times have we all been together saying that something needs to be done, a solution needs to be found, self-determination must be there for the Kashmiri people. Now I'm clapping that too. I can't compete with my friend Imran Hussain because his knowledge is better than most people in this room, apart from, of course, Mr. Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. But nonetheless, I wonder how many more times we'll have to be together before we have self-determination for the people of Kashmir. And the last time I spoke at a meeting like this was in the main building before the last general election. I think we've had one more meeting since then, haven't we? Which I was abroad for. Since that time, I've had the privilege of being elected as the chair of the Interparliamentary Union for the British group. Now, if you don't know, thank you. If you don't know what the IPU is, it's a kind of mix between the United Nations and a trade union for parliamentarians. And we've tried to get Kashmir recognized as a group that itself should have delegates and representatives at IPU assemblies. And a few of you are nodding because you know what I mean. The organization was founded by a French MP and a British MP 136 years ago. So it's outlived a lot of trade unions and certainly the United Nations. It's longer standing. 81 members, which is almost every country in the UN. The United States withdrew some years ago, which is a real shame. But well-known democracies such as China, that was sarcastic, Iran, Russia, are also allowed to be members because they pay their subscriptions. But what that means is, although we know they're not real democracies, they send delegates to the assemblies that take place twice a year. The last one was in Tashkent, in Uzbekistan. And they send delegates. They may not be properly elected MPs, but they are representatives of their country, and we can talk to them. And at the last event, the last assembly, the 150th assembly, in fact, that took place in Tashkent in April, I was able to talk to the Iranians, something I wouldn't normally do, but they asked to meet with me and with the UK. It's a forum, in other words, where we can get together and discuss the problems of the world. And if Kashmiri representatives are not there, they should be. Even if they're not entitled to full membership, it would be good to see Kashmiri delegates and representatives so that we can engage and actually play out what needs to be done in an international forum as well as in this parliament of ours. So I really hope that you'll take up that suggestion and make sure that there are representatives of the Freedom for Kashmir movement, of the independence movement, of those who want to see Kashmir represented properly because it's a state that really should be recognized because of self-determination, which is an inalienable right, as Imran said earlier. So that's one suggestion I've got for you. Don't take this the wrong way, but I hope we don't have to meet again. Because if we don't meet again, that means the problem is solved. That means Kashmir has its freedom, has its independence. But we're a long way off from that right now. So the reality is we probably will continue. But we now have a Labour government, Richard, which I hope will listen more closely to the words said in this room, the sentiments of everybody here together today for self-determination. I can't say that phrase too often. It is the right of every people to decide who they should be, what direction they should go in, what kind of nationhood they should embrace. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in a country little known to most people in the world. It's called Mongolia. Now, most of you will have heard of Mongolia. When I told one of my colleagues that I was going to Ulaanbaatar, he said, "Where on earth is that?" Because most people have no knowledge of it. But there is a proud nation that does have self-determination, 3.5 million people in a country 6 times bigger than the United Kingdom. But through its geography, its geopolitical position, it is sandwiched between Russia and China. Can you imagine anything more difficult in political terms? But they've made a success because they've been allowed the right to self-determination. They have a proud past and a history. Everybody's heard of Genghis Khan, I think. And they regard him as the founder of the nation in the 13th century. As we were signing the Magna Carta here in the UK, Genghis Khan was conquering that part of the world. I'm not suggesting Kashmiris conquer the world, by the way. But what I'm saying is that nations that are little known, but have proud traditions, heritage, culture of their own, should be allowed that right to become full nation states and should be awarded that by everybody involved. So I'm going to end my remarks there. I'm just a final comment. It's not quite 50-50 in this room, but it's nice to see many more women Kashmiris as well. So well done, and let's hope there'll be more next time. Your movement really needs to be representative of everybody, and I hope that's we're moving in the right direction. Thank you very much to everybody who's attended for listening.
Wonderful. We'll be vote shortly, but would you like to say a few words at this point? Please do.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Comrade, Sardar. It was an opportunity to interact with define our histories. Although you and especially Mr. President Hamilton is aware of that, because I have so many briefings with especially both of you. And your cooperation, your support, your help always for us. And that's why we are able to interact with so many MPs, because usually the MPs are bound to meeting with their constituent, not the outsiders. Like I'm not any constituent from any in the UK. But I met with the Foreign Office and many MPs. It's great pleasure for me. One thing I would like to clarify, that when a British governor appointed by the government of Britain in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, at that time it was Northwest Frontier Province, and he was the person who managed some of the tribals, some other peoples who were motivated, religious, and sent them in Kashmir on behalf of the government of Pakistan. And we are forcibly divided. We are victim of proxy politics. We are victim of proxy war. We are victim of the policies of the Cold War era. That's why we have the United Nations resolutions. Instead, the United Nations and all the member states focus on this issue, should be resolved, but last 76 years, day by day, we are receiving dead bodies, graveyards, enforced disappearances, and most of the political peoples who race in the favor of the right to self-determination facing persecutions on both sides, not only one side. And the other thing, which actually India did in 2019, Pakistan is same course applied in Gilgit-Baltistan and abrogate the state subject, which is in Indian side that is called 370, but in our side it is the state subject rule implemented since 1927. But Pakistan abrogated unilaterally on that part which is under Pakistani administration and known as Gilgit-Baltistan. Gilgit-Baltistan is shared border with China, and Pakistan gifted in the name of the friendship of China-Pakistan friendship a large portion of the area which is actually belongs to the state of Jammu Kashmir. And now there are some alliances in South Asia, and that alliances actually ignored the conflicts. They are just protecting their national interest. They are not addressing the issue which belongs to the people rights, like state of Jammu Kashmir is not belong to India, not belong to Pakistan. And before 1947, when India and Pakistan was created, they were the creations. Before 1947, there was no Pakistan. It was part and parcel of the British India. But it was created. And now, before 1947, we have the self-rules, we have semi-independence, and in the state affairs, our ruler was accountable to the people of Kashmir. But now, we are divided, and nobody who administrated us ready to listen us. Like the present government of India is using terrorism tool to suppress the voices, democratic voices of the Kashmiris. And the other side, it is the Pakistan who also use same way, good Taliban, bad Taliban, like those groups, those religiously motivated groups who actually follow the instruction from the deep state of Pakistan, they are the good terrorists. And those who now, through many experiences, not ready to obey them, they are bad Taliban, they are bad terrorists, and they're facing every time receiving the bullets. And before, Madam Faria Atiq told, two brothers, they were students, and everybody knows that they have nothing to do with any extremist organization or radical organization. But just the deep state asking them to kill some of the nationalist secular leaders, and one of the person, which is known as Zarnosh, he refused that no, I can't. I'm not ready to kill my brothers, Kashmiri. And ultimately, the whole family is suffering. Two were killed by the police, and now the victim family is just demanding that this case, extrajudicial and killing case, should be investigated through the Judicial Commissioner. Government of Pakistan is not ready to listen them, and they are just issuing statements, protesting, and every human rights defender is facing such kind of a threat. If you speak against the policies of the government of Pakistan or the other part of Kashmir, which is under India, says something regarding the Modi government's policies, they become the targets. So at this time, we are really in a very critical situation, and we need more support. And those politicians, elected members of the British Parliament, we need their support and their intervention and their pressure in favor of the state of Jammu Kashmir people, that Pakistan and India first refrain, and at least they give us a chance that human rights should be respected, our culture should be respected. At this time, the government of India said, no, we are imposing one nation, one language agenda. And all the languages, which was indigenous languages, now actually facing threat. And in same here, if you are a Muslim,
You are.
then you should follow the Pakistan's sovereign interest, protect the Pakistani sovereign interest. Our voices are totally compromised. At this moment, we have the military is very powerful. Even in Pakistan, the human rights defenders are facing persecution, and hundreds and thousands political workers are in prison in Pakistan, and as well in the Pakistani occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. There are some the lawyers who was actually running a movement for the restoration of the basic rights of the people, and they are raising voice against the plundering of the natural resources. But Instead, the government of Pakistan listened them carefully. They sent them in prison, and now they have no access to the lawyers, and government of Pakistan is not ready to release them. That's why at this moment, actually, we need your support. We are not believing just conference for conference, but at least some kind of relief which is deserved of our people. And not a single political party in whole state of Jammu Kashmir is believing division, forcibly division. Every Kashmiri political party, maybe we have the different views each other. Some are socialist, some are religious minded, some are different. But every Kashmiri political party, whether she is operating in the Indian side of Kashmir or Pakistani side of Kashmir or Galgit-Baltistan, including Ladakh, they believe the state of Jammu Kashmir, that is the historical state, and that status should be restored, and the division should be end. So before I finish, I have actually this admission leaders of and members of the oppressed nations and representative of civil society and the media having gathered at the Boothroyd Room, House of Parliament, London. We strongly condemn the heinous act of terror in Pahalgam, Kashmir, which claimed the lives of at least 26 innocent civilians and left many others injured. We offer our heartfelt condolences and unwavering solidarity to the family of the victims. We hold in high regard and are proud of the local Kashmiris who did their utmost to protect the lives of the tourists and who organized candlelight vigils to pay tribute to the victim of terror. We especially honor Adil Shah, who sacrificed his life while protecting tourists. We urge that common Kashmiri must not be humiliated and victimized in the name of terrorism and countering terrorism. We demand a transparent and independent investigation to ensure that the perpetrators of this crime against humanity are brought to the justice. During recent crisis between India and Pakistan, dozens of innocent Kashmiris lost their lives on both sides of the so-called line of control. Homes and properties were destroyed or severely damaged, and thousands were displaced. Despite the declared ceasefire, violations continue killing and displacing civilians, especially women, children, and the elderly. We urge that United Kingdom, United Nations, and international community to ask both countries to take immediate and appropriate steps to reinstate all displaced persons, providing financial support for the reconstruction of destroyed properties and compensate the families of the victims who lost their loved ones. Reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and call upon all parties involved in the Jammu and Kashmir conflicts to end all forms of human rights violations, including arbitrary arrests, enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings. On April 28, 2025, two well-educated brothers, as before I explained, Zarnosh Nasim and Jabran Nasim from Bagh Azad, Kashmir, were reportedly killed extrajudicially during a police operation in Rawalakot, Azad, Jammu Kashmir. The incident, which was also covered by BBC Urdu, has sparked widespread concerns. The victim's family and local residents have been demanding justice and judicial inquiry to uncover the truth. Who is recruiting and training the youth? And who is responsible for targeting those who refuse to cooperate? Despite these calls, local authorities have declined to establish a judicial commission, further fueling concerns about rule of law, transparency, and accountability in the regions. We demand a judicial inquiry into this and other incidents of extrajudicial killings. Demand full restriction, unrestricted access for international human rights observers, journalists, and humanitarian agencies to all part of historical state of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, including Gilgit-Baltistan and so-called Azad Kashmir. Affirm that the people of Jammu Kashmir in all its regions, Jammu, the Kashmir Valley, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan, and so-called Azad Kashmir, are the primary stakeholders in the conflicts and must be included in all dialogue and decision-making process concerning the future status of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. Call for the gradual and complete withdrawal of the armed forces from the civilian areas on both sides of the line of control to protect the lives, dignity, and fundamental freedoms of the populations. We urge the respective governments to instruct their security forces to immediately cease the use of torture, enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and fabricated encounters. We strongly condemned and expressed deep concerns over the alarming rise in enforced disappearances and the kidnapping of minors in Azad, Jammu Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, and Pakistan. Numerous Kashmiri children, including Said Haroon, 8-year-old, Arsalan, Zubair, 2 years old, and Muhammad Tabish Khan, 3 years old, have been abducted, despite the family providing clear evidence to the authorities. Authorities have made no serious efforts to recover the missing children. On 26 May 2025, Zafar Hussain, the father of Muhammad Tabish Khan, was forcibly taken to the Tarnol police station in Islamabad, where he was beaten and coerced into signing documents. The United Kingdom should ask Pakistan to recover these kidnapped children and hold the perpetrators accountable. Our demand an end to the arbitrary use of anti-terrorism and sedition laws to silence political dissent and suppress human rights activism. We strongly condemn the policy of intimidations, harassment, and surveillance of political leaders, civil society actors, and journalists, and call for its immediate cessation. We strongly condemn the suppression of fundamental freedom in Pakistan administered Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. The party calls for the protection of freedom of expression, assembly, and speech in line with international human rights standards. In Gilgit-Baltistan, peaceful political and human rights defenders, including Mumtaz Nagri advocate, Ahsan Ali advocate, Tarif advocate, Abbas Sher Nadar, Muhammad Nafis, and others remain prison under fabricated charges. We urge their unconditional and immediate release, emphasizing that the Kashmir conflict is not merely a territorial issue, between India and Pakistan. It is fundamentally about the human rights, identity, future, and dignity of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the right to self-determination, access to natural resources, and reunifications of families divided since October 1947. Call upon India and Pakistan to jointly establish humanitarian corridors and enable cross-border trade and travel to reunite the divided families, displaced families, promote regional peace, and foster people-to-people ties. Our demands stress that all region of Jammu and Kashmir must be allowed to function within open, democratic, and secure environment where political parties, human rights defenders, and civil society organizations can operate without fear. We demand the restoration and strengthening of constitutional safeguard, autonomous structures, and legal protection for the local population in all regions. Call for the immediate and unconditional release of all political prisoners, whether they are in the Indian side of Kashmir or the Pakistani side of Kashmir, and falsely charged or imprisoned to silence opposition voices. Unequivocally condemned all form of terrorism and religious extremism, whether perpetrated by state or non-state actors. Call on all authorities to take effective measures against groups or individuals that promote violence, radicalization, sectarianism, or hatred in the name of religion or nationalism. Assert that no part of Jammu and Kashmir should be used to conduct proxy wars or to spread ideological radicalizations. Urge the government of Pakistan to abandon the decade-old policy of using extremism and jihad as instrument of state policy and to dismantle all jihadi infrastructure in the interest of regional and global peace. On February, Pakistan so-called Solidarity Day with the people of Jammu and Kashmir banned extremist groups, including Hamas leaders, were gathered in Rawalakot under the patronage of government of Pakistan and its security agencies, wield sophisticated weapons in public gathering, and target UKPNP leadership and members with false accusations and intimidations as an anti-religion, anti-state, and foreigner agent. On January 5th, 2025, Azad Kashmir so-called Prime Minister Chaudhry Anwarul Haq chanted slogans Al-Jihad, Al-Jihad, Al-Qatal, Al-Qatal in Muzaffarabad, Azad Kashmir, instigating violence in Kashmir, and assured that the AJK budget would be allocated for jihad. Is this to please his benefactors and remain in power, or like the 1980s Operation Topak was another plan in motion? Operation Topak, Pakistan's proxy war in Kashmir, conducted under the guise of jihad, resulted in the deaths of an estimated more than 150,000 people of Kashmiri. Azad Kashmir has been used as a launchpad for extremist activists, where banned outfits are promoted, projected, and allowed to operate freely with impunity. Youth are being recruited and trained for the so-called jihad in Kashmir. Those who oppose this proxy war and militant agenda are often silenced or eliminated. We call upon both India and Pakistan to protect and promote the culture, linguistic and religious identities of all ethnic groups under the administration. This includes recognition of the native languages, and including in the syllabus as a compulsory subject and adopting in schools, local offices and administrations. Preservations of culture heritage, protection of religious freedom and practice, and that Pakistan recognize the right to development of the people of Jammu and Kashmir under its control and formulate a policy utilized local natural resources, responsibility, promote sustainable inclusive development, address long-standing neglected, particularly in Gilgit-Baltistan and other marginalized regions. Rest, I will submit these reports to the President, and I hope you will circulate your colleagues and other member of the Parliament.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Because it is little bit long.
I'm certainly very pleased that Imran will be here. Would you like to kind of decide who speaks next?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I will.
Please do.
Yeah. Now I would like to invite Sayyida Mehruna Bukhari. She is dynamic activist of United Kashmir People's National Party, Vice President Bradford Unit. She has been organizing youth, and we are glad to see our young female activists here, and they are the future of our Kashmir, and you are the equal part of our society, and without empowerment of women, society cannot thrive, cannot develop. You have the floor, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, respected members, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am honored to speak here today. A poet once said, I may not translate it perfectly, but I will try to share its meaning with you all. The one who is supposed to protect me is the one who robes me. The one who is supposed to give justice is my killer. If I stay silent, it destroys me. If I speak out, they call it rebellion. Slavery is created by social conditions, but the occupiers of Kashmir do not understand that just like slavery begins under certain conditions, it can also end under those same conditions. That is where resistance begins. This is called nature's law of cause and effect. To crush the people's movement in Kashmir, the Pakistan establishment came together. First, they used Kashmiri youth for their proxy wars, but social media has now exposed their double standards. Today, Kashmiri youth are more aware and committed to a peaceful struggle for freedom. When a nation is taken away from its culture, identity, and politics, it creates a deep pain. That pain slowly turns into anger and leads to extremism. Scientists agree that every living being is born with a feeling of self-protection. In the 17th century, there was a theory called the social contract. It says that the job of a state is to protect people's natural rights. Today, we call them basic human rights. But in Pakistani occupied Kashmir, a system is being created that divides people. This goes against the United Nations Charter of Human Rights. By law, in both Indian occupied and Pakistan occupied Kashmir, only people from the state can vote and contest elections. But in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, we are forced to accept a law that says we must support joining Pakistan. This is not only unfair, but it is also against Pakistan's own 1973 constitution. This law locks the political path for people who support an independent Kashmir. Each time leadership changes in Pakistan, new influential actors are sent to our region, not to serve the people, but to protect a central agenda. These actions were formalized in the Act of 1974, which still limits our democratic rights. Article 6.3 gives 12 assembly seats to migrants living in Pakistan, allowing federal government to control our decisions. Article 5 formed the Kashmir Council, where the Prime Minister of Pakistan is chairman. Out of 13 members, 7 are from Pakistan and 6 are only from the local people. This is not representation, it is restrictions. And sadly, these decisions were supported by local facilitators, now called collaborators. Their names are known, their signatures are on these documents, and today their families still hold position of power over us. Let me be clear. We want freedom from the system and from those who help create them. The UKPNP stands against this injustice, and remember that resistance is not a crime. It is a sign of courage and hope. I give respect and salute to the brave members of the Joint Action Committee and UKPNP who are standing firm in this peaceful struggle. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Maruna Bukhari. Now I would like to speak in our panel, but due to some health conditions, he is unable to present here in person. But his colleague Afsar Khan will speak on his behalf. Mr. Naran is a prominent Baloch leader. You have the floor.
I'm reading on behalf of Maran Baloch, the Baloch representative to the United Nations and the European Union. I thank Sardar, Shaukat, Kashmiri and the United Kashmiri People's National Party for arranging this vital conference on peace, security and fundamental rights in the region. It is an honor to speak at this prestigious venue in the British Parliament and shed light on the grievances of the Baloch people whose struggle for justice demands urgent attention. Ladies and gentlemen, the crisis in Balochistan is not just a local issue. It is a stark violation of peace, security, and fundamental rights. The Baloch people are denied their basic freedoms, the rights to live without fear, to speak without censorship, and to exist without the constant threat of violence. True peace cannot exist where entire communities are subjected to state-sponsored terror. Security is meaningless when it is enforced through abduction and killings rather than protected through justice. The fundamental rights of the Baloch to life, dignity are being crushed under the weight of oppression, and restoring these rights is essential for any hope of lasting peace in the region. For decades, Balochistan has been subjected to Pakistan's illegal occupation, stripped of its autonomy and resources while its people face relentless oppression. Enforced disappearance have become a chilling hallmark of this occupation. Thousands of Baloch men, women, and youth have vanished, taken by security forces, leaving families in anguish with no answer. These are not isolated incidents, but a calculated strategy to silence dissent. The BYC, a beacon of hope for the Baloch people, has faced brutal crackdowns. Its leaders like Dr. Maharan Baloch, Beru Baloch, Gulzadi, other leaders and human rights defenders are illegally detained, their families kidnapped as a form of collective punishment. Pakistani security forces operate with impunity, abducting relatives to crush the spirit of those who dare to speak out. Just recently, intensified disappearances and extrajudicial killings of Baloch youth in fake encounters have escalated, with bodies found dumped, bearing marks. These acts are not just crimes, they are an assault on humanity itself. The media blackout in Balochistan compounds this tragedy. Intimidated, censored, or worse, ensuring that the world remains largely ignorant of the atrocities. This deliberate suppression keeps the Baloch struggles hidden, allowing Pakistan to evade accountability. The international community and regional powers have largely turned a blind eye, prioritizing geopolitical interest over human lives. Where's the outrage? Where are the sanctions, the investigations, the call for justice? We cannot stand idly by while an entire nation is erased. The Baloch deserve fundamental rights enshrined in UN charters to live free from fear and to have their voices heard. We must demand that Pakistan ends its illegal occupation, halts human rights abuses, and releases those unjustly detained. The world must hold Pakistan accountable through international forums, through pressure, through action. Let us amplify the Baloch struggles. Let us stand in solidarity with the BYC and all those fighting for justice. The time for silence is over. The time for action is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He has shared the human rights violation. I would like to give floor to Sajjad Hossain. He is the president of United Kashmir People's National Party, London unit. You have the floor.
Mr. President, Excellencies, respected delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply grateful to Richard Logan, member of the British Parliament, for the opportunity to speak before this exchange gathering on a matter of urgent moral and political level. The persistent denial of peace, human security, and fundamental rights to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, a region divided and administered by both India and Pakistan since 1947. According to liberal peace theory, sustainable peace cannot be imposed. It must be rooted in democratic governance, inclusive political participation, and the rule of law. Yet across Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in Pakistani-administered Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, these foundations are being systematically eroded. The people are denied genuine political activities, civil liberties are suffocated under restrictive legal regimes such as the AJK Interim Constitution Act of 1974 and the Gilgit-Baltistan Order of 2018. There are even grave concerns. In so-called AJK, recent years have witnessed alarming trends of kidnapping and extrajudicial killings and killings of Kashmiris in different cities of the Pakistan. Saad Haroon, age 8, abducted in 2014. Muhammad Tabish Khan, age 3, abducted in 2021. Arsalan Zubair, just 2 years old, disappeared in 2022. These children have vanished without trace. Their families remain in anguish. Justice has not only been denied, it has been evaded. No perpetrators have been held accountable yet. The extrajudicial killings of two brothers, as mentioned by many of my colleagues, named Zarnosh Naseem and Gibran Naseem in April 2025 in Rawalakot, Punch, Azad Kashmir has raised serious concerns about the safety, security, and well-being of the region's youth. We demand an impartial and free judicial inquiry to these and other killings of extrajudicial killings. Today, on behalf of United Kashmir People's National Party, I call upon the international community to act decisively. Demand transparent and credible investigations into all enforced disappearances and abductions. Facilitate international access to monitor the human rights situation in all parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Defend and uphold the rights of civil society, independent media, and political actors. Without truth, there can be no reconciliation. Without justice, there can be no peace. The people of Jammu and Kashmir must no longer be treated as a geopolitical afterthoughts, but as the central protagonist in determining their future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sajjad Hussain. Now I would like to give floor to Sohail Talat. He is the President of United Kashmir People's National Party, Bradford Unit. You have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Right, here we go. UMBs, Richard, conference, all that. So, all respect. I greet you all on this occasion occasion of discussing soil. And you all know that there are countless Kashmiris living in this country. And the fragrance of the soil of the motherland, and the love never let them forget the memory of their homeland. We want this, as the nation. We too are free, independent, and do not need anyone else in our future. Humans can be seen rules. You can catch them, attack them, imprison them, prosecute them, and hang them on the gallows. But the thought cannot be controlled by the spread. The inflammatory behind and are hidden from the eyes of those who are interested. But they grow, flourish and take root hidden. Thank you. The more you cook their roots, their due to carelessness, the stronger their roots. Of the continuous sacrifice of Kashmir for the last 75 years.
बहुत अच्छी की है कि आपने जो ग्लव्स की यूज़ किया है वो एक्स्ट्रा
The Amritsar was signed in 1846. It was an important political chapter of Kashmir. There are separate needs to understand the background and situation of Maharaja Hari Singh and his state in India in 1947. It is quite clear, and that before the partition of the British India, Kashmir was state under British and did not have the status of British people, or nor did the British Parliament have the right to legislate in Kashmir. Kashmir being a buffer state was a symbol of more autonomy and political privileges than other states. Kashmir had its own constitution, its own laws, and there were several agreements with other neighbouring countries, including Britain, India had clearly recognized of Kashmir in the last days of every British Raj. At the time of independence, 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh immediately India had declared independence by refusing to the British Empire, which was the Government of India Act in 1935. Under this act, many states were promised that independent India would not have any superiority over these states. This was at a time when there was no talk of existence of Pakistan. But in 1946, a statement by the British Cabinet Mission to India that sovereignty could neither remain in the hands of the British Crown nor be transferred to a new government was in the Cabinet Mission Memorandum of 12 May 1946. After that, on the 10th of July 1947, British Parliament reiterated the same position. And on the 16th of July 1947, Lord Liston, the Minister of India and Burma, told the House of Lords of the British Parliament that the time of independence, the appointments and duties made as representatives of the British Crown would cease and states would be masters of their own destiny. The two countries were divided on which one they wanted to join or whether they wanted to remain independent. The Lord Mountbatten also reiterated the recommendation of the Cabinet Missions in his addresses to the Chamber of Prince on July 25th, 1947. However, these provisions were deliberately kept vague in the Indian Independence Act 1947, which damaged the status of Kashmir. The British rules over Kashmir ended on the 15th of August 1947 under the Indian Independence Act of 1947. Since Kashmir had not acceded to the India or Pakistan before 15th of August, its legal status is that of independence and sovereign state. It is also clear that Maharaja Hari Singh wanted to remain independent and had expressed its desire to sign a standstill agreement with India and Pakistan under the Indian Independence Act of 1947, which shows that neither of the two countries have the authority or the sovereignty over Kashmir. I briefly refer to the laws that indicate that Kashmir belongs to Kashmiris and further enslavement by imposing oppressive laws on a serious violation of human rights. Again, I'd like to thank our chairman, Shaukat Kashmiri Sahab, and the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Colleagues, it's important discussion. I think it's really important that a written report is done every year of these meetings. I want to thank in particular all my friends from Leeds who do such a good job at raising the issue of Kashmir, as I said earlier, in Leeds, across the country, and in Parliament as well. And I think it's really good that we have the chair of the All Party Parliamentary Group on Kashmir attend today. I think he gave a fantastic speech. It was also great to hear from Fabian Hamilton with his experience, and also Ian Byrne as well. I have plenty of apologies from other members of Parliament who would have liked to have come, but were either stuck in the votes that were taking place when the bells were ringing, or were staying in the meeting with the President of France, or on other business. But ever since I became a Member of Parliament in 2015, it's been a great pleasure to work with members of the Kashmiri diaspora and to learn about your struggle for self-determination and to help support the Kashmiri people in their struggle for self-determination. And to understand that when people in power say that the future of Kashmir is a bilateral matter between Pakistan and India, they are quite simply wrong. That is not the case. The future of Kashmir is not a bilateral issue to be determined by the governments of India and the government of Pakistan. It's for only one group to decide the future of the Kashmiri people, and that's the Kashmiri people. Because if that's not the case, then the phrase self-determination doesn't mean anything. Because self-determination means the freedom to determine your own future, not the freedom to have your future determined by others. So we will all continue to speak up for self-determination, against human rights abuses, for democracy, and for the birthright of the Kashmiri people, which is to decide their own future after decades and decades and decades of being denied. I look forward to seeing you all again in Leeds. I look forward to seeing you all again in Parliament. And I hope that goes well, and keep up the important work raising this issue again and again and again, because until it's resolved, no member of Parliament should forget about this important issue for all who care about democracy, human rights, the rule of international law, peace and self-determination. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, before giving floor to our next speaker, I congratulate United Kashmir People's National Party UK chapter for their efforts and remarkable participation in this very crucial conference on state of Jammu and Kashmir. And we are thankful to our media friends and colleagues who are covering this important conference and amplifying our voices. My next speaker is Barkatul Hassan. He is the Deputy General Secretary of UKPNP, UK chapter. You have the floor. You have 3 minutes to conclude your presentation, please.
Thank you very much. Today's important event. Good evening to everyone, especially our Honorable Mr. Chairman, Sardar Kashmiri, and most respected Chairman, welcome to this meeting today. I would like to say thank you to him for organizing this whole consecutive conference for us here in House of Commons. We are gathered today to talk about a region that has become synonymous with conflict, division, and silence. A place where peace remains elusive and human rights are constantly under threat. The people of Jammu and Kashmir, regardless of religion or ethnicity, have for decades endured pain, fear, and alienation, often at the hands of those who claim to speak for them. Let us speak frankly, both India and Pakistan has failed the people of Kashmir rather than championing the peace. Both states have chosen to prioritize their strategic and political interests, turning Kashmir into a theater of proxy conflict. India has pursued a policy of militarization, suppression of dissent, curfews, communication blackout, and arbitrary detention. Meanwhile, Pakistan has often used the Kashmir issue for political leverage, at times sporting armed proxies that only added the instability and suffering on the ground. Caught in between are the ordinary men, women, and children of Jammu and Kashmir, those who have never picked up the weapon, yet live under the constant shadow of violence and victim of state terrorism across LOC, from both nuclear armed states, India and Pakistan. Peace cannot be imposed through force, and security cannot come at the cost of freedom. If we truly want a lasting resolution, we must move away from these failed strategies and approaches. The future of Jammu and Kashmir must be built not on territorial claims or proxy politics, but on the will, rights, and aspirations of its people. The way forward begins with the demilitarization, restoration of civil liberties, and unrestricted political dialogue that includes all communities, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and others. It means forming freedom of speech, press, and assembly. It means international observers should be allowed full access to monitor human rights conditions without restriction. We must intervene a secular, peaceful, and democratic Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, a region where no one is persecuted for their identity, beliefs, or politics. This is not a utopian dream, it is a moral obligation. We call on the international community, including the United Kingdom and UN, to step up not just with words, but with concrete action. Facilitate dialogue, demand accountability and support grassroots peace-building efforts within and across the line. Finally, let me remind ourselves that Kashmir is not a dispute, it is a homeland. Its people are not statistics. They are brothers, fathers, students, and dreamers. And they deserve a pity. They deserve not a pity, but justice. Not slogan, but solution. Not division, but acknowledgement.
Thank you. So now I would like to give floor to Shahid Hussain. He is the Deputy General Secretary, lead unit of UKPNP. You have 2 minutes, please. We are running out of the time.
I'm deeply honored to be part of this wonderful conference today, and I'm grateful to all who contributed to organize this effective conference today, just to be respectable British MP. As an active member of UKPNP, I will highlight that from my position of recalling laws, the denial of fundamental rights, and the marginalization of local voices, Pakistan has silenced Kashmiri nationalists, journalists, and human rights defenders who dare to speak out. Many members and sympathizers of Kashmiri nationalists have faced arrests, harassments, and exile merely for demanding basic civil rights and political autonomy. It is within this grim landscape that we must pause and reflect on a horrific recent tragedy, the alleged fake encounter of the North Nassim and Gibran Nassim. Two bright young men were gunned down in cold blood and not in a battlefield, but in what appears to be a staged encounter means to silence dissent and manufacture false narrative. These deaths are not isolated incidents. They are a part of a systematic campaign of fear, correction, and corruption, where anyone who questions the state's narrative is branded as terrorist, an agent, or an enemy of the nation. May truth prevail, may justice preserve, freedom, democracy, equality. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Before giving to today's meeting president, is the president of want to open the floor. If
and denied their fundamental basic rights and freedoms. The United Kashmir People's National Party (UKPNP) stands firmly for a peaceful, democratic, and united states of Jammu and Kashmir. We reject all extremism and foreign occupation. We call for a pluralistic society where every citizen, regardless of religion or ethnicity, enjoys full, peaceful, social, and economic rights. We are especially concerned about the systematic suppression in Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, where people are denied ownership of natural resources, basic civil liberties, and constitutional rights. For radicalization and proxy warfare must end. Our youth deserve education and opportunities, not for exploitation. Today, I urge this Parliament and the international community to, number one, support inclusive political dialogue involving the genuine voices of all regions of Jammu and Kashmir. Number two, advocate the human rights monitoring across the entire region. Number three, encourage both India and Pakistan to demilitarize and de-escalate. Number four, promote the right of the people of Jammu and Kashmir to self-determination through peaceful democratic means. Let us work together to ensure that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are no longer treated as pawns in a geographical game, but as rightful stakeholders in their own future. Thank you all of your time, your support, and your solidarity, peace, justice, and freedom of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you, each and everyone. Thank you.
Now we would like to conclude this meeting, but before concluding, I request each and every panelist and keynote speakers, please submit your soft copies of the speeches as we compiled reports of the over previous meetings, and we will do it for this meeting as well. And please send via email or WhatsApp tonight or by tomorrow. And this is never accepted forced division. We will never do this forced division, and we will continue our efforts for reunification and independence of our historical state of Jammu and Kashmir. I thank you each and everybody for your presence, your insights, your invaluable efforts in this meeting and contribution. Thank you everybody. Hereby we conclude this meeting. नहीं वो उन्होंने मीडिया वालों ने वो कर रहे हैं हमने 7 बजे भी करना ओके थैंक यू एवरीबॉडी थैंक यू वेरी मच
I just one request. We will make group photos.
downstairs
I will.
ग्रुप फोटो बनाएंगे थोड़ी देर बैठ
नहीं बैठेंगे नहीं भाई उनको मीडिया से बात कर रहे हैं